And today we're going to discuss the monster movie Anaconda Mountain. A group of shamans are engaged in a secret ritual in front of a stone temple somewhere within an enigmatic forest. While a young woman named Mei is kneeling in prayer, the crowd starts casting spells at a gigantic serpent. Very quickly, a strong blue aura starts to emerge as it all congregates around the core, inflicting excruciating pain on the snake. As the folks feverishly try to heal the young girl's condition, the energy eventually flows towards the older woman who is the young girl's mother. The shamans inform the girl that the ceremony has failed as they start to leave the location as the ritual abruptly comes to an end. Mei immediately runs to her mother and sobs helplessly as a result of this. Despite ultimately seeing the woman's demise, she didn't anticipate that the mother's soul would enter the serpent's egg and swiftly cause a hatchling to emerge. The woman grasps the bright red animal and decides to keep it for herself, believing it to be the reincarnation of her mother. Immediately after seeing the dreadful ceremony that has been performed, Mei's brother Lo rushes to the place and adopts the second egg to stop any further mishaps. After 30 years, the red serpent has grown into a monstrous creature that stalks the mountain's visitors and eats them like a banquet of human beings. A news organization controlled by the victim rapidly learns about the incidents. Principal figure Shen and his lover Lin, but none of the employees can believe something so unbelievable. Before the reporters can continue talking, a group of soldiers suddenly intercept them and start threatening the workers with guns. The police captain is asking that they pay back the loans right away because it turns out that Shen has borrowed a significant amount of money from the government. Shen acknowledges that they are at a loss for options and assures them that, provided they don't harm anyone here, they will receive the money within a week. When the police officer overhears this, he chooses to back off as he orders all of his guys to leave right away. However, the workers are unable to repay the money in a timely manner. Fortunately, a reporter by the name of Zoli claims that he has a solution while displaying to his colleagues a picture of a massive serpent that he discovered on the slopes of the adjacent mountain. They will definitely be able to make enough money to repay the debts if they can somehow find additional evidence of the creature's existence. The individuals swiftly start gathering their belongings and getting ready to locate the enormous beast as they leave the city's boundaries and move straight towards the enigmatic mountains. The squad ultimately reaches onto the island as they continue moving advances, and the lead character recommends that they should split up to cover more territories. Shen makes the decision to seek the deeper areas of the forest with his friend Zilong, while Zoli goes in quest of a nearby vantage point with his girlfriend Lena. When the young couple finally makes it to the cave entrance, the woman immediately notices something is awry when she spots a massive centipede creeping in their direction. They instantly flee as a result of this, but as they do so, the creature that intends to eat Zoli's flesh attacks him. Luckily, a flying blade stuns the creature in place before it can kill the people, and a mystery woman named Shirley leaps to the creature's aid. Shen is surprised to learn what just transpired to his pals as they immediately turn around and return to the other group while attempting to treat Zoli's wounds. He tries to express gratitude to the enigmatic girl for saving his people, but all she says is for them to get out of here quickly before vanishing into the jungle. Zilong abruptly interrupts them before they can decide what to do next and informs the reporters that he found something really weird. It turns out that the man has discovered a ritual site, and the locals conclude from studying the stone engravings that this must be connected in some way to the history of the enormous serpent. What's even more amazing is how soon they manage to locate a massive. The discovery of a fragment of skin that can only be from the big creature indicates that they are getting close to the monster. Before the villagers can rejoice in their new findings, a huge shadow appears in their rear, and they rapidly come to the conclusion that something is seriously wrong. The enormous reptile materializes in front of the reporters as it gets ready to eat all the people, and the reporters slowly turn around in terror. Fortunately, Shen can respond quickly, and he tries to divert the monster's attention so that everyone may flee. The villagers flee through the forest in a last-ditch effort to escape the gigantic serpent, which is pursuing them and destroying everything in its path. The people ultimately manage to ascend a sizable hill, where they come across a huge cave's mouth and are compelled to enter it to evade the approaching monster. The team cautiously enters the cave, descending further into the pitch-black interior without knowing what hazards might be lurking within. The group ultimately enters a vast spiderweb-covered tunnel, where they discover a significant number of skeletons hanging upside down from the ceiling. Shen recognizes that they are in big jeopardy since he believes that this might be the gigantic serpent's genuine residence. A reporter named Peng discovers the big beast is already moving very soon, as it encircles the people from the outside. Here, the humans are compelled to run again as the monster instantly pursues them from behind. The serpent is looking for them by following their scent as they rush over the several tunnels and swiftly become divided as a result. Shen is fortunate enough to escape the monster, but Zilong is less fortunate as he wanders right into the animal's chamber just as the monster materializes behind him. The monster moves slowly in the direction of the reporter with the intention of consuming the human, but Zilong is swift on his feet and diverts the monster to the opposite side. He now has the opportunity to flee as the monster guards its nest. However, they escape rather than fleeing. The gigantic beast pursues after the man after he decides to take a picture of it, which puts him in additional danger. Later, the man encounters Zoli and the others, putting them all in danger of being slain by the enormous serpent. The big beast begins pursuing the young pair and chases them furiously inside the tunnel, while the two attempts desperately to escape from the place. In the end, the group is compelled into a larger tunnel where the serpent is pursuing them from the walls since they are unable to escape the oncoming monster. The result is that the victims are swiftly cornered and have nowhere to flee. As he starts screaming at the serpent in an attempt to give Lina a chance to flee, Zoli understands that they are going to perish and makes arrangements to make the ultimate sacrifice. As a result, the monster devours the man in front of his lover, leaving her speechless and absolutely petrified from dread. The strange woman reappears just as Lina is about to be killed, playing her flute and inflicting excruciating pain on the serpent. Shen quickly arrives and notices that the creature is trembling ferociously. Lina may be saved if the man moved swiftly to get her out of harm's path, but the serpent regained control and threw Shirley across the field. When Shen notices this, she quickly returns to assist the girl and protect her from the big serpent's strikes. As their other friends have also found the exit, the folks eventually succeed in finding it, and they immediately start scaling the rocks to leave the region. The gang escapes one by one, with the main character being the last to rise, but the serpent is not going to let him go. The animal grabs the man's backpack and tries to drag him back inside, but Shen eventually manages to free himself and escapes with everyone's assistance. The individuals seize the opportunity to flee the location and make their way back into the forest, where they are finally able to catch their breath. After seeing his friend die, Pang, however, starts to flip out and begins blaming everyone for everything that is happening to him. When the main character overhears this, he tries to calm down his companion while demanding that Shirley reveal her true identity. The woman is actually a guardian for the enormous snakes, and she has come to prevent the red serpent, which was tainted by the rite, from escaping. 30 years have passed. Mei, the previous guardian, attempted to heal her mother's illness using the serpent's power, but she failed and the serpent mutated as a result. The reptile was subsequently adopted by her since she believes it to be the reincarnation of her mother, whilst Shirley's owner and her brother Lo chose to keep the other green snake. The crimson snake gradually became stronger and larger as time went on, and it also began to enjoy eating living animals. When the creature's guardian ultimately grew old herself, she made the choice to let the serpent consume the unfortunate travelers that entered the highlands rather than feeding it livestock. Shirley reveals that the enormous creatures are celestial in nature and that it is their fate to transform into dragons and acquire godly power. They must aid the green snake in finally eliminating its brother because the red serpent has chosen to finish its evolution by devouring humanity. When the individuals gradually awaken the following morning, they discover with amazement that two of their companions are mysteriously disappeared. It soon becomes clear that Pang has made the decision to abandon all of his pals because he no longer wants to search for the serpent. He doesn't know that someone is following him, and as a result, he is immediately knocked unconscious. When the man ultimately awakens, he discovers that his friend Zilong has tied him up, and without thinking, Zilong pulls out a knife and slashes the victim. Zilong intends to draw the serpent toward them using the victim's blood so that he can acquire additional evidence of the serpent's existence. Zilong quickly hides from afar as the villagers soon start to hear a horrible roar coming from the serpent that is drawing nearer. Eventually, the monster towers over the defenseless man and starts to advance as it opens its enormous teeth and eats the human in one mouthful. Zilong sees this and begins shooting photographs, but also alerting the monster towards him as the thing approaches to consume him as well. When Shen enters the scene unexpectedly and realizes that the guy is in danger, he attempts to divert the monster's attention away from him. Fortunately, Shirley shows up and starts playing her flute, temporarily incapacitating the monster and allowing the others to flee. The serpent is able to escape, striking the victims and sending them to the ground in the process. The main character is in its path as the enormous snake moves closer to complete the kill. Prior to Shen being After being consumed, a second flute starts to play, shocking the creature once more because Master Lo has made the decision to aid the populace as well. As the wicked guardian arrives to collect her monster, this enables them to quickly escape the area and get back on their feet. The group eventually makes it to Shirley's house, where the woman shows them the green serpent, which immediately causes the group to scurry backward in terror. The woman reassures them that because the animal has never eaten a human life, it will never hurt anyone. After leading the group down the mountain, the guardian instructs them to stay on the path until they reach the city again, no matter what happens. However, the group made the decision to stop after their long journey when they came upon a sizable structure on the outskirts of the forest. The gang rushes to the house in search of a place to spend the night and soon comes upon an elderly woman who warmly invites them inside. The group decides to accept the hospitality because they are at last able to find a place to spend the night, but Lin soon starts to suspect something is amiss. She gives the elderly woman a skeptical glance before spotting a familiar item on the wall. The talisman is instantly recognized by Lin as being the identical one Shirley wore. As a result, she becomes aware of the elderly woman's. As she rushes towards the main character to warn them that they are inside the enemy's home, it turns out to be the evil guardian. The moment they realize there is a threat, they dash inside to find their companion, but when they emerge, they discover that Lena has also vanished with the elderly woman. A force from outside suddenly closes the building's windows and doors, trapping everyone within with nowhere to flee. It seems that Lena was led into the garden, where the enormous serpent had also materialized in front of her, prompting the woman to scream in terror. Shen successfully smashes open the window and launches a chair at the monster just in time to save the girl from being killed. This changes the animals. As it slowly enters the structure and positions itself to devour the main character instead of the occupants, it pays no regard to them. When Shen notices the oncoming monster, she immediately strikes the foe in the head, but the attack fails miserably because it simply enrages the beast further. Eventually, the serpent succeeds in completely encircling the population, but Shen is able to devise a plan as he starts to lure the monster away from his girlfriend. The man starts screaming at the enormous snake, prompting it to leap into the walls and give the people time to flee through the window. They start distracting the main character as they instantly rush towards Lena as they attempt to release the girl. Escape from his pals and the beast. The man struggles mightily to avoid the fierce strikes of the beast, but is eventually thrown aside like a flying rag doll. When Zilong notices this, she frantically goes outdoors to get away, but she trips and nearly falls in front of the animal. Lena is swallowed whole by the enormous serpent in one bite, but the man manages to toss her in that direction, allowing him to flee. This causes the monster to turn toward the surviving survivors, easily capturing the people with the help of its enormous body and torturing them until they die painfully. Fortunately, the green snake charges in and tosses the adversary onto the ground before the victims can be harmed. Saving the people in the process. It turns out that the Guardians are here to prevent the elderly woman from committing additional crimes and to finally vanquish the red snake. Mei doesn't give up, though, and she starts ordering her monster, sending it scurrying into the forest while the green serpent closely pursues it. Eventually, the monsters reach a huge temple, where they prepare for a decisive battle to determine which of them will rule as the sole celestial dragon. The creatures roar ferociously in the direction of one another, with the green serpent striking the adversary first and sending the red snake running. The bad serpent races over to the opposite side, with the humans and its sibling close behind. Have also arrived on the battlefield. Master Lo orders the evil guardian to calm down, but Mei isn't about to give up. Instead, she starts using her instrument to prod the serpent into continuing the battle. As the green snake tries to deliver the last blow, the red serpent charges in and dislodges the foe. Fortunately, the green serpent is quick to react and bites the enemy in the neck while violently throwing the bad thing away. Mei notices that her monster is rapidly losing the battle as the enormous green serpent screams angrily. As she succeeds to heal the monster, the lady decides to utilize her own life energy to augment it. Her soul was attached to the serpent by the wounds on it. The gigantic monster is successfully revived as a result, and as it immediately stands up and prepares to refight the green snake, power rushes through its body. As it approaches the rival, the evil serpent roars violently and makes repeated attempts to bite the neck of the green serpent. The creature eventually succeeds in slapping the opponent's head to the ground and throwing the green snake into the walls. Surprisingly, the green serpent refuses to give up and continues to fight the evil creature by scaling the structures. In an effort to gain the upper hand, the two serpents quickly move in on one another. But ultimately, the red snake succeeds in biting the opponent's neck and hurls it smashing to the ground and roars at everyone. As a result, Master Lo is compelled to use magic on the green serpent as well, instantly curing its wounds and inducing the serpent to develop enormous wings on its back. Eventually, as it slams the crimson snake to the ground, the celestial creature turns around. The wicked thing attempts to stand up once again to resume the fight, but the green serpent unleashes a hail of flames on its foe, igniting it to a crisp. Mei falls as she watches helplessly as her monster burns to ashes onto the ground and passes away shortly after. Eventually, the enormous green serpent makes its way onto the structure and roars in triumph. The crowd watches in awe as the creature starts to take off, joining the thunderclouds along the way and causing multiple lightning strikes to land on its body. As a result, the serpent soon transforms into a celestial dragon by piercing its own skin. Zilong notices the amazing metamorphosis at the same time and tries to take even more shots, but instead ends up getting struck by lightning, which promptly kills him. The celestial dragon finally returns to the temple to express its gratitude to its human friends before taking off into the sky and vanishing with the clouds. It is daylight. Shen thanks the Guardians for saving their life as the guy ultimately reappears, walking out into the distance with a tale that would astound the entire human race. Please share your thoughts about this movie in the comments section. I'll see you guys again soon, and if you like my videos, please press like and subscribe for more.